Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. You know who I am. I'm Pixie the Bug. Pixie or Danny, whoever you feel like calling me today. Um, this is really bad. I really need to get a camera that'll help me do this. And I've been looking, but haven't found one that I like. But anyway, before we get into that, or even get into it at all, I decided that instead of going through another person that exists in our world, like I did last time I went through Dracula, I decided to go through another one of our other things. So we are in Connecticut. Connecticut is in, I'm guessing, New England. I'm not exactly sure. But we're going to talk about melon heads, specifically in Connecticut. But I have them all. There's North Carolina, and there's Ohio, apparently, which we'll get into later. But melon heads are basically, sorry, my brain just went blank. They're basically, wow, small humanoids with oversized heads, and they rarely come out from hiding. They survive by eating small animals, stray cats, and human flesh, usually the flesh of teenagers. Why teenagers are specific, I don't know. I think that's a tree branch, but I don't know. I think that's a tree branch, though, with dead leaves on it. Stories about deformed country people who keep to themselves go back at least a century to Europe. It started in Bavaria, Germany in the mid-19th century. It was an inbred family of melonheads, known as weebleheads, were said to live outside Risbury, England around 1900. So they've been around for quite a while. Another theory says that the term started in Melungian, which describes mixed-race people in Appalachia. They had an ancestry of European outcasts, freed slaves, and Native Americans, and they kept to themselves. The stories started to surface again in Connecticut after World War II, a time when people moved away from cities and into the suburbs. This is rude. They probably reflect the New York exurbanites' prejudice and fear of isolated rural folk. Guys, I live in New York. I've never once heard somebody make fun of country people. I don't live in New York City itself. I live in upstate New York, but I've been in New York City a million times and not once heard about isolated rural folk, okay? But one theory claims they have came from a family accused of witchcraft and banished into the wilderness where they survived and inbred. Through centuries of inbreeding, they mutated into melonheads. So they're assuming that it happens during inbreeding. Like when you inbreed cats too much, they get like extra toes and stuff like that. Another theory, the melonheads escaped from Fairfield Hills Hospital, which is that you can't really see. Come on, camera. It's this building right here, I'm guessing. Where'd it go? A now abandoned mental institution, or Garner Correctional Institute, which specializes in inmates with mental health problems, and both are in Newtown, Connecticut. I usually try to show pictures. It says it's abandoned, so I guess we could probably look at it. I don't know. I don't like showing that, but there's a much better picture of it. Yeah, see, it's not. It's obviously not. It says visiting hours. This facility, the Garner Correctional Facility, is a level 4 high security institution which houses over 500 inmates. So I'm not going to go any further into that. It said it was abandoned. It's obviously not abandoned any longer. So if you guys want to go check it out, you can talk to them, but I'm not going to get into that. Fairfield Hills Hospital was a psychiatric hospital. There's a better picture of it. That looks different than the one we just looked at. In Newtown, Connecticut. And I'll look at Newtown, Connecticut. A little bit of a picture there. Fairfield County. Not a very good picture, but If something's not abandoned, guys, if it's something like a place that's actually running, I'm not gonna go into looking at it. That's just not cool. But hold on, Dad, I'm filming. Every time I film, there's a whole bunch of pictures of these things, basically with big heads. I'm gonna be a few minutes, Dad. So, like 10. So, no. I'll be down in a few. So, I don't... Melon headed malicious. 2 suspects robbed sheets with watermelons on their heads. Not making that up, guys. There they are. Why? Why would you do that? Sorry that I keep getting intro every time I film. They won't talk to me all day, and then the second I start to film. This is Wikipedia, so take this with a grain of salt, guys. The legend of Michigan resides around Felt Mansion, which is that. It's a house located at, sorry. I don't know why I popped up the address. Be cool, guys. Don't go there. Although they have also been reportedly seen in southern forested areas of Ottawa County. According to one story, they were originally children with hydrocephalus who lived at the Junction Insane Asylum near Felt Mansion. The story explains that after enduring physical and emotional abuse, they became feral and were released into the forest surrounding the asylum. They just let them go like cats, I guess. That's terrible. That doesn't mean that it's true, but that's still pretty messed up. The Allegan County Historical Society asserts that the asylum never existed, although it was at one point a prison. So how can it not exist but also be a prison? That doesn't make any sense. However, the story has been part of the local folklore for several decades. Then you have the legend in Ohio, primarily associated with the Cleveland suburb of Kirtland. Look at that. Look at that weird statue right there. That's pretty cool. That middle one is pretty cool. But according to Ohio, they were originally orphans under the watch of a mysterious figure known as Dr. Crow, sometimes spelled with an E, or Crow, or Crow, where are you? Right there. Or also known as Dr. Melonhead, which is a reason why it got its name. Crow is said to have performed unusual experiments on the children who developed large hairless heads and malformed bodies. Some accounts claim that the children were already suffering from hydrocephalus and that Crow injected even more fluid into their brains. Don't know what hydrocephalus is. I'm going to look because it's a hyperlink. Hydrocephalus is a condition in which an accumulation of cerebrospinal fluid occurs within the brain. This typically causes an increased pressure inside the skull. Older people may have headaches, double vision, poor balance, and all kinds of things. But it wouldn't really give you like an enlarged head. I don't know. This is interesting, guys. Legend in Connecticut, Fairfield County, and Western New Haven County. Didn't we just do... Oh no, the first one was Michigan. I said Connecticut. I'm sorry. Michigan had Felt Mansion. Ohio had the weird, mysterious doctor. Maybe that's why I don't trust doctors. Weird things happen around them. Fairfield County in Connecticut was the location of an asylum for the criminally insane that burned down in the fall of 1960, resulting in the death of all the staff and most of the patients, with 10 to 20 inmates unaccounted for, supposedly having survived and escaped to the woods. The legend states that the Melonheads' appearance is a result of them having resorted to cannibalism in order to survive the harsh winters of the region and to inbreeding. I don't think inbreeding would cause an enlarged head. I'm not a doctor. Cannibalism? The only person I know who did cannibalism was Jeff Dahmer, and I promise you he didn't have a big fat head. I mean, if you're curious, you can look at a million pictures of him. Jeff Dahmer didn't have an enlarged head, so why that became a thing is beyond me. There's also another one. It's called Dracula Drive, which is interesting because last week we did Dracula Drive. The inclusion of a secluded, rustic, or single-lane dirt road running through the Melon Heads wooded territory. So that seems to be the most common thing. A secluded, rustic, or single-lane dirt road. I'm not going to keep going only because we're running out of time. But, I mean, if you want to look into pictures... I don't know who that is. Oh, that's supposedly a melon head with an enlarged head. But it's just genetics, I would think. I mean, that's not really... there's another one, a guy with an enlarged head. I had a video I wanted you guys to watch real quick. So this is from the Melon Heads of Kirtland, which I believe is in Ohio.
To a special and spooky 3 News Halloween investigation into a Northeast Ohio urban legend about a group of creatures that still go bump in the night should you find yourself in Lake County.
3 News investigator Rachel Polanski went searching
any rights to this. It's from the WKYC channel.
It was a dark and stormy night. Probably. Sometime in the 1970s. Or so they say. When strange creatures with abnormally large, bald heads are said to have roamed the woods of Northeast Ohio. And legend has it, they're still lurking today.
That's not weird or creepy.
We are in Kirtland, Ohio, and down in the deep, deep woods off of Wisner Road.
That's Amy Capostasi with the Lake County Historical Society. We enlisted her help to share the story of the Melon Heads.
They could be dangerous if they wanted to be.
Frightful appearance aside, Amy tells us there are 2 popular legends of how the Melon Heads came to be. They both involve a man named Dr. Crow.
He was a mad scientist and had these orphans that came to his property.
That's a messed up looking scary building.
Procedures, and that at one time the kids got so tired of being abused by Dr. Crow and his wife that they lit the house on fire and burned Dr. Crow to death. And then from there they realized that they didn't have a place to go, so they took to the woods.
That's one theory. In the other, the government was responsible for doing experiments on the children, which resulted in their large heads. Then the kids were sent to Kirtland.
So they showed up at Dr. Crow's house in the middle of the night, and he and his wife took care of the children. Dr. Crow died of natural causes in his home. The house caught on fire,
just said
again,
that the
kids were alone and took to basically living.
Set the house on fire, so that's not natural causes.
Spirited locals began calling the children melon heads because of their swollen heads. And over the years, the nickname stuck. So too did the reported sighting.
So I'm not going to finish it, but basically, I mean, if you died from a fire, I guess it's kind of natural causes, so you'd asphyxiate and die, but I wouldn't assume, like, it's not really natural if somebody sets your house on fire and you get killed. That's murder. So, anyway, the only thing that I really have left is to look at Facebook, which is, I found one group. I didn't look into all of it. I found these, but it's a secluded country lane going through their area there, and basically what happens is they decide if they don't like you for whatever reason, they just go through and like attack you. I don't know. So it's called the Saugatuck Melon Heads. If you want to look it up, it's right there. It's in Michigan. It's had to reside around Felt Mansion, though they have also been reportedly seen in southern areas of Ottawa County. You know the story. We just watched it. Looked into it. So, can these guys exist? Yeah, they can. They're just people with enlarged heads. It could just be genetics. It could be a lot of things. These guys are shown with, like, vampire teeth. It could just be regular people living in the mountains or hills or whatever and just don't want to be bothered, so they chase people out. And, you know, so that one could be waved away, but take with it what you will. This is pretty cool. If you want to get into melon heads and look into it a little bit deeper, they actually have a book about it called Sightings by J.F. Roto Rome, Volume 10, Monsters of the World. That would actually be cool to read. I should look into that. I don't think it'll be at my local library, but you never know. So, there's some cool pictures. They're probably just normal people kicking others out, and they're urban legends. You know how that works. Oh, well, he's a freak. He's got a big head, and there you go. You have it. So, yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that in every video I seem to be getting interrupted. I'm not scripting that. It just, literally, guys, they leave me alone all day and then just decide while I'm filming that they have to talk to me every time. So, and I interrupted to talk to him because he sat down in my bed to speak to me. So, anyway, I'm going to go see what he wants. I think this is the mansion. But it's in Michigan. Looks pretty neat. I wouldn't mind walking through it. Again, guys, I'm not checking to see if these are abandoned or not. I did the one. Before you go to these places, before you assume that they're still abandoned or whatever, look into the area, check the website, and ask permission before you go. I'm into urban exploration. I love the thought of looking into things. That's why I do this channel. But before you make the assumption that a website says, oh, this place is abandoned, as you saw, the one place was actually still going. It turned into a level 4 security prison, which is kind of cool. And I'm sure if you called them up and you found a really cool person that works at the prison who knows the history, they'd probably be more than happy to sit there and talk to you about it. I'm going to talk to my cousin Scott. He runs his own paranormal YouTube channel, which I'll drop here if he wants me to. I'm sure he won't mind, but I'm going to ask permission first. And I'll see if he'll talk to that place, and maybe they can do a thing on that. But I'm going to let this go for now. Like I said, I'm going to go see what my parents want. And much love, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. And one more time, just if you find something you think is really cool, if you want to get into urban exploration, I'm into it. Check the building out before you go. There's dangerous people out there, not melon heads. Okay, that's just mean to call somebody a big head. But check it out, see if it's running, because it might have been abandoned when they first wrote that Wikipedia page or whatever. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt, because we looked it up and it was running. So look into it before you go, and sometimes you'll get lucky. I watched Sam and Kobe at one point, and they had gone to an old, it's that prison over in California, Alcatraz. Yeah, sorry, Alcatraz. They had one down in Mexico, and they went to go check it out, and they didn't have permission to be there, but the guy was really cool and was like, hey, if you want to, I'll take you on a tour of this place. So you never know. You might get in just because the guy's feeling generous that day. So, anyway, guys, enjoy the video. Sorry it's 18 minutes long, and I'll see you next week. Bye!